Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something that's going to matter for every developer, every security team, and frankly anyone building or deploying autonomous AI systems, because the way AI behaves in real production environments has changed dramatically, and the old ways of thinking about security just aren't enough anymore. We're talking about the brand new OWASP Top 10 for Agentic Applications, a groundbreaking framework released this week that highlights the biggest threats in autonomous multi-agent systems and what you absolutely need to know if you're shipping these technologies at scale. If you've been following AI over the last few years, you know we've gone from generative text models that answer questions to systems that can reason actively, call tools, execute tasks across systems, and make real decisions on behalf of users. What was once a narrow problem space, like preventing bad LLM outputs, has exploded into a full class of security challenges that span everything from dynamic tool use to memory poisoning, identity abuse, inter-agent communication, and the potential for rogue agents. The security community has been watching this evolution closely, and the timing of the OWASP Top 10 for Agentic Applications could not be more important, because agents are no longer experimental, they're in production. In 2025, OWASP expanded some of its guidance to deal with modern supply chain risks, but Agentic AI changed the game again. These systems don't just output text, they plan, decide, delegate, and take action on behalf of users or infrastructure systems. That shift from passive to active dramatically expands the attack surface in ways that don't map cleanly to the old categories. In practice, that means threats are no longer just about injection or bad dependencies. Language itself becomes an active input surface. Agents can chain tools together at runtime. They can reuse state and memory across sessions and contexts. They can make decisions that ripple through connected systems, and each of those capabilities can be abused in novel ways. Recognizing this, the OWASP GenAI Security Project, a global open source and expert community, brought together over 100 security researchers, practitioners, policymakers, and organizations like NIST and the European Commission to publish the Top 10 for Agentic Applications in 2026. This new list is designed to help identify the risks most likely to cause real harm in autonomous, tool-using, dynamic agent environments. Let's walk through the key risks the list highlights, but I'll frame them not just as categories, which can feel dry, but as what can actually go wrong in real systems. The number one risk on the list is called Agent Goal Hijack. This happens when an attacker alters the objective or instruction path of an agent by injecting malicious natural language content. Remember, agents often can't reliably distinguish instructions from data, so if they ingest a poisoned document, email, or RAG source, they may start acting on something they shouldn't. For example, an internal planning agent could get a malicious calendar invite that subtly changes priorities, or an attacker could hide exfiltration instructions in a seemingly harmless PDF. The reality is that language itself becomes an attack surface. Mitigations here mean treating all natural language inputs as untrusted, applying prompt filtering, limiting tool privileges, and requiring human approval for goal changes or high-impact actions. Second on the list is tool misuse and exploitation. This one is scary because agents aren't just generating text, they're calling tools, APIs, shell commands, desktops, database interfaces, and so on. If you give an agent access to a powerful tool without strict controls, an attacker could craft input that leads the agent to use that tool in destructive or unintended ways. An invoice processing agent, for instance, might be tricked into sending sensitive data externally because the prompt subtly coerces it to call the email tool with inappropriate arguments. The mitigation here requires strict permission scoping, sandboxing, validating tool arguments, and enforcing policy on every tool invocation. The third major risk category is identity and privilege abuse. Agents typically inherit user or system credentials so they can operate on behalf of users. Without careful control, those high privilege tokens can be reused or escalated unintentionally. Think about an agent that runs a long workflow and caches SSH keys or session tokens across steps, or worse, passes them along to another agent. That's essentially handing over keys to your kingdom. Mitigations involve short-lived credentials, scoped permissions, isolated agent identities, and zero-trust style authorization for every action. Another danger comes from agentic supply chain vulnerabilities. In modern agentic stacks, agents fetch plugins, tools, prompt templates, models, and even sub-agents dynamically at runtime. That dynamic behavior is powerful, but it also means a single compromised dependency can radically change agent behavior or expose sensitive data. For example, an MCP server impersonating a trusted service could inject malicious code into workflows. The industry is already familiar with supply chain attacks in software packages. Now we have the same problem but with dynamically loaded AI components. Mitigation here includes signed manifests, curated registries, dependency pinning, sandboxing, and kill switches for compromised components. The fifth risk is unexpected code execution. Agents can generate and run code, scripts, shell commands, migrations, template evaluations, and if that execution isn't properly guarded, attackers can exploit it to run arbitrary commands. This might look like a prompt injection that leads an agent to run a harmful patch directly, or unsafe deserialization in memory systems. The defense against this is treating agent-generated code as untrusted, eliminating direct execution where possible, using hardened sandboxes, and requiring human review steps before any code runs. Another big issue is memory and context poisoning. Agents often rely on memory systems, embeddings, RAG stores, session history to maintain context over long interactions. If an attacker poisons that memory with misleading or malicious content, the agent's future decisions can be influenced in unintended ways. RAG poisoning or cross-tenant leakage are real threats here. Mitigations include strong segmentation of memory, filtering for context, provenance tracking, and expiry mechanisms for suspicious entries. Seventh on the list is insecure inter-agent communication. Multi-agent systems talk to each other through RPC channels, shared memory, MCP protocols, and if those channels are not authenticated, encrypted, or validated, attackers can intercept or inject instructions. You could see impersonated agent identities, replay attacks, or tampered delegation messages. Preventing this requires mutual TLS, signed payloads, replay protection, and authenticated discovery layers. Closely related is cascading failures. The more interconnected your agent ecosystem, the more a single error can propagate. A hallucinating planner could feed bad instructions to execution agents, leading to destructive actions across many systems. When state is reused and chained through workflows, small errors compound quickly. Mitigations here involve isolation boundaries, circuit breakers, rate limits, and thorough pre-deployment testing of multi-step agent plans. The ninth risk is human agent trust exploitation. Users tend to trust AI recommendations, especially when an agent speaks confidently. Attackers can exploit that trust to influence decisions or extract sensitive information. A coding assistant might insert a subtle backdoor, a finance copilot could approve fraudulent transfers, or a support agent might persuade users to reveal credentials. Here, mitigation includes forced confirmations for critical actions, immutable logs, clear risk indicators, and discouraging overly persuasive language in high-stakes contexts. Finally, the frightening category of rogue agents. These are agents that become compromised or misaligned, continuing harmful behavior under the radar. Sometimes across sessions, they may impersonate legitimate processes or delete backups while appearing benign. Dealing with rogue agents requires strict governance, independent behavioral monitoring, sandboxing, and kill switches, mechanisms that can stop a misbehaving agent before it wreaks havoc. Boards and executives are beginning to worry less about did the AI hallucinate and more about can we prove control over these autonomous systems that access sensitive data and trigger workflows. The OWASP Top 10 for Agentic Applications arrives at exactly the right moment. Organizations racing to innovate now have a framework for securing agentic AI deployments in production. Applying this guidance isn't trivial, and it won't happen overnight. It requires continuous visibility across agents, tools, data, models, and identities. It requires inventories not just of static assets, but of behaviors, permissions, memory usage, and context. It requires supply chain integrity checks for agentic components, validation of prompt templates and dependencies, and real-time governance guardrails that can enforce least privilege and safe behavior from development through runtime. This new OWASP guidance is just the beginning. Alongside the top 10 list, the OWASP GenAI Security Project is releasing a suite of resources, practical guides for securing agentic applications, mapping matrices that align agentic threats with mitigation strategies, threat modeling references, and even simulated environments to practice defenses in a controlled setting. Real incidents involving agentic systems are already happening outside of labs, and without a framework like this, many organizations won't even know they're exposed until it's too late. Agentic behavior is fundamentally different from static prompts. Agents plan, they remember, they act, and they interact with tools, environments, and other agents in ways that require new kinds of oversight. For developers and security teams, this means updating not just their toolkits, but their mindsets. It means thinking of AI systems as active participants in workflows, not just passive APIs that return text. It means building security into agentic designs from the start, controlling identity, limiting autonomy, validating inputs, governing outputs, observing behavior, and preparing for failure modes that didn't exist before. Thanks for sticking with this breakdown. Drop a comment with your thoughts on agentic AI risks, or let us know what you want us to cover next in AI security and development. Thanks for watching. This is AI Tides, and I'll see you in the next one.